Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to have a go at making a 3-bar hilt. Obviously I'm not just going to make the hilt, I'll make a sword, but I'm going to be honest with you now, I'm using stainless steel for the blade because this build really is more about trying to make a decent hilt. So I'll have a go and we'll see what I can come up with. The two sidebars have to be added on separately, as this shape can't exist as a single flat shape in cardboard. I'll cut the knuckle bow and guard out as one piece and add the two sidebars by arc welding them into place. I flattened out my cardboard templates and drew round them onto this sheet of 2.5mm thick galvanised steel. Now to cut them out. I've started cutting them out. I was able to cut the outside perimeter with an angle grinder, but for these fiddly inner bits I'm having to use a Dremel, which is making the whole thing quite slow. Okay, with the pieces cut out, the next stage is to submerge them in lemon juice for several days to get the galvanizing off them. You can actually see the reaction taking place and leaving these bubbles directly above the metal. Right. After 24 hours immersed in the juice of 4 lemons, this steel is completely free from zinc. I wish I understood the chemistry involved, but I can assure you that it does work. Don't take my word for it, try it for yourself. I've polished up the hilt pieces with a belt sander and rounded off the edges. I've bent the guard round to form the knuckle bow, and I've added this little blob here. So the next thing for me to do is to draw the shape of the pommel, cut it out, and then draw round it 5 times onto this sheet of very much thicker steel. The stuff's 4 or 5mm thick. Okay, with that done, I just need to remove this central part of this one so that the tang can pass through, and then I'll weld them all together and grind them down to form a single piece like this. I've got them stuck together in one lump. Now it's just a question of beautifying the thing by adding weld to all the dodgy places and grinding it off until at last I get something that looks like one single piece of metal. Okay, I think that'll do for the pommel. And with the pommel done, I was able to slide it and the knuckle bow onto the tang, and using the tang as a sort of jig, weld them together. Now that I've added the first of the 2 swept bars, we can start to get an idea of how the finished thing will look. And here it is with the second bar installed. If I did this again, I would definitely do this bar first. Doing this one first was very stupid of me, and I can't remember why I did it. Simply because with this one in place, it's harder to get the grinder in and work on this one. But I was able to sort it out using the Dremel. The last metal part of the hilt assembly will be the back strap, but in order to make that I think I need to first make the wooden grip. The grip is almost exactly 100mm long, and I think I've got a piece of wood of about the right thickness. So I've got this piece of flat wood, it's nice and flat, and it's about 8mm thick. I've cut myself 2 chunks, 100mm long by 30 wide, hollowed them out and glued them together to form this. And that will fit like this, though I'd like to give it a little more shape. There. I've started adding a bit of shape to the thing. This is how the hilt would go together. The last element would be a steel backstrap. This is the template for it, cut from card, and that should fit on something like that. And you can see here how I've relieved the wood to accommodate the backstrap, so it'll sit nice and flush. Here it is cut out from the steel, which is actually an old tin of olives. It was coated on the inside with a gold substance, but I found that I was able to sand it off quite easily. It turns out that olive tin is a bit thin really for making backstraps for swords. I'll have to contact my local olive tin manufacturer and let them know. I've finished shaping this handle. Now it's time for me to make some wood stain. In order to do that, my first job is to go out into the natural environment and harvest some petrol. You really don't need that much to make a bit of wood stain. Now I'll add a little brown. Let's see what sort of stain we've achieved. Okay, that's not as dark as I want. I'll add a bit more black. There's something very satisfying about getting the materials that you need for a project like this straight from Mother Nature. Okay, I've got the sort of very old dark wood look that I was hoping for, and now I'd like to add some wire. So I've got this ball of salvaged copper wire, twisted 2 strands together and started wrapping it around the handle. Okay, 1 copper wire wrapped sword grip. Here's the blade. I haven't said much about it because this video is more about the hilt, but it's got distal taper, and in the process of giving it distal taper with an angle grinder I did leave some chatter marks on the surface, and I've spent a lot of time polishing those out as best I can with a belt sander attachment on a small grinder. Here's the tang. I've cut a leather washer and the whole thing goes together like this. Okay, we've got the grip, the leather washer and the 3-bar hilt. Let's slide the whole lot onto the blade and have a look. This is a bit fiddly, but it should go something like this. There. Now I've got to attempt the peen, and I'm not going to try and do that on camera because frankly I'm not yet very good at it. Okay, let me show you the peen. It's my 3rd attempt at peening a pommel properly. When I first thought of trying to make a 3-bar hilt, I imagined doing it in round section bar. I don't know how that would have worked out, but I must admit I am pleased with the way this has come out. Here's a view of the entire sword. While I am, as I've said, happy with the way it looks, I am curious about the way it performs. I know that being stainless steel with an appleseed edge and only sharpened with a cheap Chinese belt sander, it's not going to be able to cut through water bottles, but I think it should certainly be able to stab one. Let's find out. Right then. Well guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.